All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, today, Woj from ESPN broke the news this morning that Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic will be named as the NBA's MVP. For this past regular season, Jokic averaged more than 27 points, nearly 14 rebounds, and nearly 8 assists in helping the Nuggets reach the NBA playoffs for a fourth consecutive year. In the process, Jokic also became the first NBA player in the history of the game to have 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, and 500 assists all in the same season. You think about what Jokic did, uh, about 20 triple doubles this season, really not having a shoulder to lean on as far as the production burden for him, as Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. were basically not there all season. Jamal Murray missed the entire year, while Michael Porter Jr. missed. He only played in about 9 games this season for the Nuggets. And with that said, you're talking about two players on max contracts that were expected to have a big time impact for what the Nuggets were hoping to do this past season. Now, aside from Jokic, there's very strong and compelling cases that could be made for both Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers as well as Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks to have won the award as well. This past season, Embiid led the NBA in scoring at more than 30 and a half points per game to go along with nearly 12 boards and more than 4 assists per contest. While in the case of Giannis, he averaged nearly 30 points per game, more than 11 and a half rebounds, and nearly 6 assists for the defending champs. And for me, and I talked about this for the past several months, this right here was a classic toss up for this award. As for me, and I've been saying it, and I'm going to continue to say it, all three of these players had very compelling cases, and they were each well deserving to have won this award. And you could not have gone wrong either way by picking or voting for one of these guys to take home the award. Now, the tricky thing for me in the history of the NBA, they have never had a co MVP. And I felt like this right here really would have been the year to have done it. If you had a situation where you said, you know what, we're gonna, split the MVP between Embiid and Jokic, or split it between Embiid and Giannis, or Giannis, and Embiid. Any way you want to turn around to slice it, nobody I really think would have hesitated. That's how close it was for what these three guys did. But for me, you look at Embiid. For a lot of people, he was a sentimental favorite, being that he has never won the award. Giannis won it twice, and now Jokic has now won it twice as well. And if you're Embiid, he's probably going to be very frustrated because he probably feels like, what more does he have to do in order to take home this hardware? But for Embiid not winning this award, and I'm not even going to call it a slight, because the bottom line is Jokic put up a phenomenal season. But with that said, I think the Philadelphia 76ers should be able to benefit from this, because if you're Joel Embiid, you just want to go out there, and you already have had a phenomenal season, but you're probably going to go out there and play with reckless abandon for the rest of the postseason to try to get an NBA championship. So we're going to see what happens with Embiid going forward from that. But nonetheless, critics of Jokic, they're going to point out the fact that he got bumped in the first round of these playoffs, while both Embiid and Giannis are still competing. And that part of it is very true. But, like I've said before, what you cannot do in the regular season always gets magnified in the postseason, regardless of the sport. And you look at it right now, nobody really expected the Denver Nuggets to beat the Golden State Warriors in the first round. And for the most part, we saw why. You look at it and basically go back and watch that Warriors series. The Warriors defensively basically dared anybody not named Nikola Jokic for the Denver Nuggets to go out there and beat them. And they couldn't. You have a team that, relies so heavily on Jokic to do things. Nobody can go out there and consistently create their own shot. None of those guys can consistently go out there and get you 20 points per game. And it showed in the postseason loss to the Golden State Warriors because they really just zeroed in on what Nikola Jokic can and cannot do. And that's usually what happens in the postseason, regardless of the sport. So nonetheless, you look at the team that Giannis still has around him. You look at the team that Embiid still has around him. And if Jokic was not putting up the numbers that he did, imagine how bad off the Nuggets would be. We're talking about the Denver Nuggets probably winning about 20 games right now. Not to say that if you took Giannis off of the Bucks or if you took Joel Embiid off the Philadelphia 76ers, that those teams impact would decrease as well. But nonetheless, you just see the impact that Nikola Jokic has on the Denver Nuggets. Now, some people might raise an eyebrow or laugh at what I'm about to say or call me crazy, whatever. But this award, as far as Jokic winning it again, to me, it all but solidifies his chances of making the Basketball Hall of Fame. And I say that because all of the players that have won this award that are eligible to be inducted into Springfield, who have won this award multiple times, are in the Hall of Fame. The only players that are not there, who have not, gotten into Springfield yet, are the guys who are still active. And for anybody who's going to stand up there and argue that Steph Curry and LeBron and Giannis should not or won't make it to the Hall of Fame, think again. If their careers, if their respective careers ended right now, all three of them will be a Hall of Famer. And honestly, this right here puts Nikola Jokic in that category. This also is going to pave the way for the Joker to get that super max contract from the Denver Nuggets this summer. He's definitely deserved it. We don't know what Denver can be because they haven't been healthy. Of course, we saw them make the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago in the playoff bubble, and they were hoping to have another deep postseason run last year until the Jamal Murray injury, and then of course that was only magnified by the Michael Porter Jr. injury uh, this year. So, with that says, who knows what could be. For the Nuggets, if they can keep everybody healthy. Bottom line is, this was a very difficult year to be a voter. And it's one of those where usually in some years you're going to have multiple guys who have cases to be the MVP, but there's something that separates one guy from the others. This year, if you look at resume one, you get a compelling case from resume two. If you look at resume two, you get a compelling case from resume three. If you look at resume three, you could get a compelling case from resume one. This is the way that it was broken down. It was so difficult. And again, like I said, uh, there was really no wrong answer here for any of the voters as far as who they decided to pick. So you look at it, what's going to go forward for these players. You look at Giannis, you look at Jokic, you look at Embiid. All three are in the prime of their respective careers. Obviously, with Embiid, you worry about his injury history and his durability. In the case of Giannis, he's already been to the summit as far as the team awards as well because he finally got his first NBA championship, and the Bucks definitely have a very good shot to go back and repeat. The Sixers, they're still in the mix to win an NBA championship this year. We got to see how things work out for them as they've come back and tied their second round series with the Miami Heat. And Jokic, let's see what goes forward with him and the Nuggets. But the bottom line is, you look at a guy scoring wise, rebounding wise, and passing wise for his position. He's definitely somebody who you have to revere. Jokic has put this team on his back for a couple of years now. He's continued to get better, and hopefully, for his sake, he can get some reinforcements sooner rather than later. But nonetheless, a well-deserved MVP for Nikola Jokic, not to take anything away from Joel Embiid or Giannis Antetokounmpo. Each man was well deserved of this award. And again, not to harp on it and not to sound like a broken record, but if any one of these three guys took home this award, I really would think that it would be hard for anybody to beef. I could definitely see why people are going to beef about Embiid not getting the award, and rightfully so. Hopefully, for Embiid's sake, he can use this as motivation here in the postseason and even to come back and have a more impactful year next year. We have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, it's another MVP award for the Joker. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.